All right, good morning, everybody. It is Cade with Go Wellness, and we are extremely excited to have you on the webinar today. So welcome. I hope your morning's been amazing, and today you are in for a treat, as always. So today we're actually going to be going through how to build a curriculum for your patients, and so that you can have some really effective training tools, educational tools for all of your patients, your clients, whatever you're trying to put together. But for your wellness programs, it's essential to have some good content and good curriculum so you can provide some outstanding training for your patients. So yeah, so I got Reagan here. He's going to be going through a lot of that. We're going to be providing a lot of good training there. Some things to note before we get started. Everybody needs to make sure, if you're a client, make sure you're registered for our upcoming events. We have a few events coming up in the next couple months. So May 20th and 21st will actually be in New Jersey. Do you remember the town, Reagan?
I don't. Sudbury. It's with Thompson Chiropractic Clinic.
Great. And so that's going to be an awesome event. The May 20th will be Functional Medicine Healthcare Entrepreneur Program, and then the Sunday we'll do about 4 to 6 hours of the Blueprint for Acupuncture Success. So some awesome stuff there. If you can make it out to New Jersey, we'd love to have you. Make sure you email us and register and chat with us beforehand, because there is some very limited seating there. The next main event is going to be July 15th and 16th. That's going to be in the LA area. So make sure you got that on your calendars and you're ready to rock on that. Also, I think last week I had talked about the Stem Cell Revolution program, discontinuing onboarding new people. It's still open for the next. I think, did we decide till the 16th? We wanted to let people get done with their tax season. So you got day after taxes are done. We just had a couple others say, hey, I haven't had any time to take a look at this. Can you give me an extension? So we figured we'd give you guys some extra time on that. So that'll be shutting down the 16th. Then there will be an increase in the price and everything, and probably won't open up for another month or so after that, just so we can make sure everything's fine-tuned and we got all of the right content built and everything's good for that. So that's our Stem Cell Revolution program to help you implement stem cells into your clinic and have all the protocols, procedures, and all the tools to get it implemented. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, email us at info@gowellness.com, and I will send you over a couple links. I'm sure on our website at gowellness.com there should be some additional information as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Reagan. He's going to be talking about how to build some amazing curriculum. Reagan, take it away.
Thanks. So how many of you have your curriculum manual, and how many of you are teaching classes to your patients? Because the way I see it, this is one of the most transformative ways of educating your patients so that they're empowered to take their health into their own hands. A lot of us, one of the big frustrations that I had over the years of practicing is my patients would always come to me when they're in crisis mode. And, it was great because, I'd set them up on a treatment plan twice a week, 3 times a week. And, then that's how we made money. It was when somebody had a crisis, and especially as an acupuncturist, pain was huge. I mean, primary area where I treat people is they're in pain. They came to see me, and then I had this just fundamental shift of thinking when my practice became so busy that I had a long wait list. I couldn't get people in as often as they needed to. Suddenly I saw this big dilemma because I had this person in pain, and I knew just one treatment, I'd give them some relief for a few days, but it's going to need to be an ongoing conversation with them and ongoing treatments. And so that's when I started looking at the whole model and realizing that I was practicing medicine the same way that, I didn't approve of in Western medicine, which is a symptom-based practice. And sure, even though you can look at acupuncture and say, oh, we're treating the cause, we're establishing the patterns of dysfunction, and we're enhancing the body's ability to heal and promoting better blood circulation. But I saw that as kind of a cop out on my part of not actually walking the talk. And I know, many of us, we're still at that mode in our practice where we are essentially a Band-Aid clinic. We're running a relief care operation where people only come to see us when they're in a lot of pain. We're not really looking at correcting the underlying cause. And in many cases, with just a treatment, for me, it was like, well, how can I really correct an underlying cause if I haven't ran the right labs, if I don't really know what's going on with this individual? And then that's where my pulse and tongue diagnosis came in. And so I really learned how to master that. And then I started bringing in more labs. And what I've seen since that fundamental shift, almost 5 years ago now, I've seen incredible results with my patients who I actually spend the time to take them through corrective care. So I changed my treatment patterns from, just being relief care basis. Well, let's treat you twice a week for 6 weeks, and then, your pain should be gone and you can go on your way. But then, it became twice a week for 12 weeks, so we could actually correct it. And then we'd add on 6 maintenance visits. Then we'll do once a week for 6 weeks after that. And so most of our patients were on this 30 treatment visit package, and we would offer them a 20% discount if they paid in full. And it was a great way of, generating revenue, and it was also addressing what I consider to be more of a corrective care mode. And we'd add herbs in there, nutrition. We would sit down with our patients, listen to their pulse every month, do re-exams, adding that in. So, our programs became about 2,500 to 3,500, and it was great while we did it. But I still knew in the back of my mind, I said, there's something missing, and I've always loved to teach. I just think it's fun to get in front of people and make people laugh. And I spoke at LA last weekend on Saturday, and it was such a fun event. I spoke for 4 hours, and most of the guy right before me, he was doing training on all the documentation for Medicare. So I don't know if any of you deal with Medicare, but they're getting worse and worse all the time. And now the documentation they have even stricter criteria for what the documentation means and what it looks like. And so there's this meaningful service, and you have to basically state your case of why this person needs the care they do every single time. And then when I got up there, mine's all cash-based, and so I was constantly just kind of railing on the Medicare industry, but I was just good banter with the doctor that spoke before me on why you should do Medicare and how it will benefit your practice, and you just have to be really careful, and it takes a lot of time for documentation. And then I got up there and I was like, screw the system essentially. But I love teaching. I love it because you can actually get multiple perspectives. I feel like as a teacher, you have a lot more leeway of exploring new ideas and new avenues than if you're just a participant in the audience, because a participant in the audience throws up kind of a random idea, and they can't elaborate on it because they don't have the stage. And I know there's some of you in our events, especially the event a couple weeks ago in Salt Lake, that you guys had some brilliant ideas, and I just, I'm just like, man, I just turn the time over to you guys, and I want to learn. But the beautiful thing is when you can really appreciate teaching, and when you appreciate learning, and you appreciate a good teacher, then what you start to realize is that education and learning is one of the largest assets that you can provide to your patients. I mean, your knowledge base is so vast, it's deep, it's broad. I mean, you guys cover massive amounts of territory, and something as simple as not eating like sugar, not eating gluten, is off the radar of most Americans. We take it for granted. We take it for granted that we know that organ meats are healthy, and we should eat sauerkraut, and we should eat avocados and lots of good fats, and avoid grains, most grains. And gluten causes inflammatory issues. It kills stem cells in your small intestine. Gluten stimulates morphine receptors in your brain, and so it's addictive. I mean, a lot of our patients, they don't know that. and it feels very extreme to them when we just start unloading all of our knowledge. So this is where I thought we need to create a curriculum, because I think the ideal way to practice medicine is not in a crisis mode. However, I do still get a little bit of a rush when I can get somebody out of pain. I find that to be incredibly empowering when they come in and they're limping, their back's in spasm, or they got this massive headache, they can't open their eyes, or wearing sunglasses looking like Brad Pitt's cousin. But then they leave and they just feel great. The pain's gone, the headache's gone, they can open their eyes. I love that. And don't get me wrong, that's never going to go away. But the thing I love the most is when I have patients who have read my book, patients who've gone through our classes, and they're very enthusiastic. They're on board with everything that we're training them on, because they believe in themselves. So I think education, when I said it's your biggest asset, it's your biggest asset because it gives people a bigger future. It gives them a glimpse into what they can become because they're knowledgeable about it. I mean, if you think about the amount of investment that you've made in your education, everyone on this webinar has invested thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. I did a survey of everyone at the California Chiropractic Association, and the average was about $200,000 spent on education. So a lot of us, we get crazy in what we'll spend on education, and then we don't even share that massive resource with our patients, because really at the end of the day, the biggest resource that you can give is your ingenuity, your human intelligence, that's what humanity needs. That's our best resource, is what you can do with your knowledge and how you can share that with others. So what I'm going to cover today is just a little bit on how to build a curriculum binder. Many of you, if you're clients, you'll have this in your Kajabi site. If you need to create your own, a lot of you have asked, well, can I have the Word document? Well, the only way that we could edit this and get everything to fit in was through a PDF. It's like an Adobe PDF. It's a editor that you can get. I'd encourage you to do that so you can make it your own. But essentially, what happens is when our patients sign up for a wellness program, then they get this binder, and this is 165 pages, so we're not going to print it out for everybody. It'd cost a fortune. But what we do is we email it to them. If somebody's totally old school, then of course we'll print it out for them. But here we've got the table of contents. Frequently asked questions, meet the team, deciding to change, the East-West University, 8 steps to qualify for your black belt in wellness. So we give them like, hey, here's the end result, here's the award you get. So it's a bit of a game. The 5 pillars of health, the East-West detox, acupuncture, functional medicine, everything you need to know about labs, a glossary of herbs, vitamins and vitamin injections and IV therapy, the online wellness portal through Kajabi, restricting fructose, class notes, gratitude, food journal. I mean, you can go through this and you can see that, we get into like mindful eating, the 8 food sensitivities, super slow to exercise now, pushing your comfort zone of physical challenges, 5 elements in emotional healing. Emotions are a big part of your wellness program. The GI tract function, 7-day meal plan template, and that did not get formatted. Awesome. GI tract function and wellness, hormone questionnaire, adrenal health, functional fat burning, what is moxibustion, proper use of topical liniments, shopping guide and portion planners, bulletproof roadmap, carbohydrate continuum, staff recipes. And the staff recipes, people love that. So this is what we created, and it's beautiful as it is, but there is a lot more that we could add in there, and we will continue to add, especially things on brain health and nootropics. That's our next iteration. But I would encourage all of you to just, as you're listening to this webinar, just start writing down, what's something that you're super motivated and fascinated by that you'd love your patients to have more knowledge around, and then start creating an outline for what you could start writing about that, or you could film, or a PowerPoint you could build. So, as you go through this with your patients, you want to put yourself in their shoes, and one of the big things they're going to have is, is this going to be hard? And so we say it really depends on how your labs turn out. The short answer is yes and no. Yes, it is easy in the fact that you'll receive one-on-one coaching, from amazing health coaches, acupuncturists, and doctors who will make the process as simple as possible. And it will not be 100% easy in the fact that there are always areas that can be improved on no matter how healthy a person may be. So, um, I think it's really important just to set things up as, yeah, it's going to be work on your part, but it doesn't have to be hard. It's much better of having to have a plan, because what happens in healthcare is the only plan is you're going to come to the office for a visit. I'm going to do a treatment on you, and then you're going to leave, and then you're going to come back 2 days later. I'm going to do another treatment on you, and then you're going to take herbs home with you, and then you're going to be swallowing herbs every day. And I'm going to tell you to avoid sugar, but you probably won't really do it because there's no one holding you accountable. And you're going to be my patient. But in this model, these people become your customers. They become a relationship. They become part of your family. So this is creating an entirely new relationship with your patients. This is what we consider to be a multiplier activity. It's a 10x activity, because when they suddenly realize that your philosophy is exactly what they've been looking for, and yours is going to be different than mine, but that's why we have them take the mindset quiz. That's one of the first things that patients take before they come in. It's in their paperwork, but we do that because we want them to feel like they've found their home and they know where they can get answers to health. They're not getting it from their Western doctor. So frequently asked questions: what are lifestyle changes? Eating, exercise, mindfulness, and learning are the major changes. I mean, those really, if you boil it down to those 4 things, sleeping could be on there as well. But this is it. We said sugar can also be in it. Please don't start sobbing because you've tried and failed, because our medical grade duct tape might be the very thing that you need. So in drastic cases of sugar addiction, we implant a nerve stimulator that buzzes whenever you think about a sugary dessert like that Mucho Grande Frappuccino at Starbucks. All joking aside, we can help you overcome these obstacles by using the correct tools. So what are the tools for sugar cravings? And so we actually have, if they read through their manual, they'll find like gymnema is a lifesaver. That herb, that Ayurvedic herb, gymnema, they could put a couple drops on their tongue right before they go to Starbucks. They'll order their Mucho Grande Frappuccino, and all they're going to taste is the bitterness from the coffee. And they're not going to taste all the sugary sweet stuff, and they will not want to eat it. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful process. We train them on how to stimulate the acupressure point, spleen 9. Spleen 9 is great for sugar cravings. How to massage their ear, because in your ear, many of you know this, but you've got all the organ systems in your body can be massaged on so that those sugar cravings drop out. Okay, how much time is required and how do I prioritize? Because people are going to want to know, okay, well, I'm going to be working with you 6 months. Does this mean like every day I've got to come into the clinic, or what is it? And one of the things we tell our patients is you actually, the better you do, the less you have to see us. But they do have to make their health a priority. This is so important for them. You can see you may need to rearrange your life so that you can focus on your health. This doesn't mean that you have to get rid of your kids for most of you. Some of our, now this, the reason I put that in there, because a lot of your patients, they'll make it their adult kids become the reason why they're not getting healthy. And many of you have seen this, but I don't know what it is, but parents have a difficult time cutting that umbilical cord string. They don't trust, they don't have enough faith that their kids can do it without. The other thing is they don't feel that there's any sense of significance in their life when they're not just mothering or fathering their kids all the time, and so that becomes a big impediment. It's not a priority then. Their health is not a priority, and it's really difficult for us to help them. And you've seen parents with kids who have addictions. They're the hardest to help because they're so wrapped up in their kids' addiction. And when I say kids, I'm talking adults. So yes, this means setting boundaries in relationships and work so that you aren't draining out every last drop of energy every day. You'll be taking herbal remedies and targeted supplements. This is your plant and food medicine that keeps you off drugs, and during specific times of your program, you'll be taking several. So we warn them there's going to be a lot of stuff that they're going to want, they'll be taking, because that's part of how we help them. Herbal medicine and supplements, usually it requires massive quantities. These aren't herbs. This is like food that we can feed our patients. So Kate, are you seeing any types of like change in the amount of supplements that patients are taking now versus when we first started doing programs like this?
Absolutely.
What
Yeah.
do you notice?
Well, one thing, and sorry, I had Jared was asking me a couple questions, but what I've noticed is I think we've got better at like fine tuning what they need.
Yep.
Um, and so, yeah, I think from what we prescribe, it's probably a little less just based on initially, but I think people are a lot more receptive. They love taking whatever we recommend for them, and I think it's all a lot to do with the education stuff.
Got it. Okay. Well, I think I agree. I think what we've done too is, we've streamlined what we find that works and what doesn't work, and then what we do is we've structured their follow-up visits. Doing the lab review. We'll do lab reviews weekly for the first 6 weeks, but we'll only put them on one or two things per lab instead of everything that they absolutely need. And then we watch how they improve and we see what changes in their symptoms. So subjectively, maybe we'll have them fill out the metabolic assessment, and then we'll kind of refine where they're at, after that first 2 months of the program. And it saves them from swallowing a lot of herbs that way. Um, but we do want to warn them in the beginning when they start their program. Um, we're going to be giving them supplements. That's the food medicine that will help them heal. Then we go into what's the most important thing I need to do. And I think the very most important thing that happens when patients start a program with me or they get stem cell injections or doing anything in the office is they just need to commit. The only way you can ever learn something new and the only way you can get the results is to have 100% commitment. And that may mean that, yeah, we're not going to be, 100% accurate every time, and what we're giving them, we're not going to help them resolve their symptoms overnight. But if they're just 100% committed to following through on the recommendations, to doing their part, to doing their homework, changing their diet, I mean, they do so much better. And so this is what we tell people. You've got to avoid decision-making fatigue. This is the number one most important thing. If they just make that decision that they're going to be 100% committed through this entire process, then they're going to do so much better. Studies show that when you replace poor habits with healthy habits, you're far more likely to stay with those healthy habits than just trying to get rid of the poor ones. So that's essentially what we're doing in our programs is we are giving them new tools so that instead of them just worried about, I've got to get rid of sugar, I've got to get rid of sugar, we're like, well, why don't you add in some fats, some really good healthy fats so that you're not getting the sugar cravings? Because you can have this massive amount of willpower, but if you're not getting rid of those things, and if you're getting rid of all the things that you're not supposed to be doing, but not adding in something new, then there's this void and it creates a vacuum, and your willpower can only last so long. So we say you are the best doctor in the room when it comes to your own health if you have correct awareness. So we help them. That's where we train them on how to pay attention to their body. The mindful eating class that Sally created was a brilliant class because now people can really understand, like, man, when I eat dessert, I don't sleep well. I wake up early in the morning, or I wake up grumpy, or I sleep too long, or my head hurts. So really want to train your patients. But the most important thing, number one, you need is a commitment. And that's why we have people pay for their program up front. It's also why we have people who get involved with us. We do the full takeaway. We have them 100% committed so that they are fully committed, because there's no sense in us being right there with them and trying to motivate them if they're not on board with us. All right, so then we have it. Is there another way to receive care with phone consultations or online? Yes, in fact, we would encourage you to get familiar with our online training portal in Kajabi. That's where all of you who are clients of Go Wellness, you got Kajabi access. And Cade, I got to tell you, being on that and working out some of the details last weekend, I'm really excited about what you created there. Cade's created a great I mean, you guys have this amazing resource in Kajabi where you can see so much of how a business works. I mean, you got a turnkey program in there. So make sure you're spending lots of time in Kajabi going through videos. We're updating it all the time. The newest program that Cade built, the Stem Cell Revolution program, many of you on this webinar are members of that, and you know, I just think it's just phenomenal, and I'm uploading videos all the time. We just put 3 new videos on there. So you know, we're going to constantly be updating Kajabi, but it's much easier for us to have a platform for our patients that's the same. I mean, we're constantly putting new videos and new content, new forms for our patients right there on Kajabi. The other thing they can do is check your email because we send them Kajabi. A lot of times those tools are waiting. We can do lots of phone consultations. We essentially have, you can do telemedicine really easy these days. So for those of you who think that your practice is restricted to a certain geographical area, well, that's just not true. That's a mindset that you have because you can now with technology, we can take anybody through an entire wellness program. We send kits out to people who are, you know, in New York. We send them out to people who are in, actually New York will typically send them to you know, Rudy's office or one of your offices, but in states like that we don't have any clients, yeah, we'll just send them the kits. We will do all the work for them, and all the research, the program design, everything's done virtually, and it's simple. I tell people who have not figured out how to provide acupuncture, trigger points, or stem cells injections through a Wi-Fi connection, but we're working on that. Imagine in the future that's probably not going to be impossible. How do I get the most out of my program? And this is very important for all of you
Hey,
guys.
one thing, Reagan, I just wanted to touch on because we have quite a few clients on today. I did upload, I got about most of all of Saturday from April 1st, our event. All that should be uploaded under the sessions for on the Healthcare Entrepreneur Kajabi site. So if
Oh,
you're
cool.
a client, you didn't have a chance to make it to the Salt Lake City event, all that content is up. The picture is not awesome, but the audio's solid. So, anyways, thought I'd make that announcement real quick.
Oh, cool. Appreciate it. All right. So when you're talking to patients, how do they get the most out of their program? Is whatever you put into it, that's what you get out of it. We tell people they can't write out a check and expect to get healthy just because they paid us. But there are some people, and you'll find that they've got this entitlement attitude that's pretty interesting. We have very few refunds. You know, we're less than 3% on refunds, but when the refunds do come, it's because somebody doesn't do their part. I mean, we're dealing with one of our patients at the Park City Clinic, and he no-showed. I mean, he showed up to his first 3 appointments and then just started no-showing, and he when he'd come in, he would tell us, you know, he's in a rush, and then he asked us to do all of his lab reviews in one visit, and we're like, we can't cover 7 labs in one visit, and he got frustrated with us, and so it was just, you know, as someone that, in hindsight, it would be great if he didn't come in. It didn't even start in the begin with, but you know, he was fully on board. His wife was with him at the consultation. He's going blind because of his diabetes. He's got gout, and he's an alcoholic. And so we're like, he'd been sober for 2 weeks. So we said, okay, because that's going to be a criteria. And you know, of course, that didn't last too long. So it's really tough. But the very first thing people have to realize is what you get into it is what you get out of this program is what you put into it. The reason why we have over a 95% success rate with our wellness programs is because of the work put in by the East-West team and by you, our new wellness member. To borrow and modify a JFK quote, to provide context, ask not what your doctor can do for you, ask what you can do for your doctor. So keep asking questions, doing your homework, taking your herbs, coming in for acupuncture treatments, and you will be shocked at how good you will start to feel. Turn off your cell phone when you come in promptly for treatments and be as present as you possibly can. Take the steps necessary to organize your life so you can focus on your health experiences. And then, you know, we always plant the seeds for referrals. We are a referral-based clinic, and I hope all of you are. Um, but what is the best way to recommend for me to recommend your program to other people? I say we're deeply grateful to all the referrals that we receive on a daily basis and would be honored for you to send in your friends and family. If you know somebody who would like help with a particular condition or guidance for improving their health, we're happy to give them a call, or just let us know and we will give you a gift in the form of a book. So we'll give them a copy of my book. In our book gifting program, all that you ask is you give a book to one of your friends or family members. We'll gladly give you one to share with them. We also offer a 20% discount to any family members who decide to do a program with you. We offer a 10% on a 4-month, 20% on a 6-month if they've got kids or whatever. Am I really finished with my care when my program ends? Yes and no. Health is a process and will be done with your deep medical investigative look at your health, but this is only the beginning. Benjamin Franklin said it best when he stated, "An ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure." We have found that if you continue to work with us at East West with our preventative and maintenance care, you are more likely to continue improving. Some of you have struggled with chronic conditions for years, and it will take time to reverse all the symptoms associated with your conditions. Healing is a process that's only complete when we die, and we would love to be able to continue working with you for your long, healthy life. Is there a prize for completion? Now, this is something I think is super fun. I had one of our patients recently just say, "Man, you thought of everything. You got all the functional medicine visits, you run the right labs, you've got the cool acupuncture treatments, you got the right herbs, you got the right supplements, you got great health coaches, the classes are phenomenal, you got an online training, but the best part is you even have a prize if I complete this." And so here's what it is. Here's the prize. I think life is much better through a lens of a game and a little bit of friendly competition. I think all of you would agree with me that that makes things kind of fun. So we have created an opportunity to receive your black belt and wellness certification upon completion of your program and a $250 credit towards any maintenance programs or stem cell treatments at East West in just 8 simple steps. And so then we'll go through that. But that's in a different section. But then their curiosity's piqued. And one thing I could add in there too is go see page 25 or wherever it's at. So here's our team. Some of these need to be updated, but for the most part, there we are. The East-West team, add a few more and we're good. We add on all the time. So I'll just kind of walk you through the overall curriculum binder. This is the mindset. If we're not constantly working to improve ourselves, we do not remain the same. We will remain the same. Rather, we deteriorate in response to the laws of time. So anyway, we want to make sure that people are understanding that it's going to take some work, but it's going to be more of them focusing on the goals, focusing on the support that's around them, making this a big deal. Because a lot of us, as you start to let go of old, worn-out habits that have kept you stagnant for years, you begin to feel a sense of freedom. And it's really quite beautiful to feel that you're actually in control of your future. It's like waking up on a bright, fresh spring morning after a good night's rest with no commitments for the day. When you finally replace those negative habits with positive ones, nothing will keep you from seizing and taking advantage of your wonderful life. So I think this is, basically I really believe in inspiring people to look into the future. And a lot of people, they feel like they can't change. Nothing is going to help them. So this whole section right here is going to really give them kind of a mindset twist so that they have a good idea of what's going on. So hopefully that gives you a good perspective of that. Wellness is 95% self-care. Don't forget to take care of you. I mean, how many of you have actually gone and you've gotten treated, you got a chiropractic adjustment, or maybe you've gotten an acupuncture treatment or a chiropractic adjustment or a massage, and you walk out of that room and your phone goes off, or you've got a bunch of texts, and you're just like, all of a sudden you've got nothing. I mean, your wellness is gone because your stress kicks in. So I think it's really important for all of us to meditate and stay grounded, because what we say, and I think this goes for all of us, but a holistic approach to taking care of yourself incorporates caring for your physical body, emotions, intellect, and spiritual self from a wellness perspective. Here are some suggested behaviors that help you be the best you can be. Taking care of yourself physically means the ability to apply your knowledge, motivation, commitment, behavior, self-management, attitude, skills towards achieving your personal fitness and health goals. You can maintain physical wellness by applying knowledge, skills around nutrition, youth extension strategies, hobbies. I love hobbies. Snowboarding, mountain biking is all key for me. So I think if you look at this, the next thing is taking care of yourself emotionally. This may be the most important thing. It involves having a positive attitude, being resilient, to your emotional flows, being very aware of what's going on. I recommend GABA. GABA, I heard it described as a bubble wrap for the ego, but GABA is awesome. Take it at night, guys. And GABA actually has freed me up emotionally a lot. I don't feel that anxiety, that panic a lot. The next thing is spiritual wellness. It's characterized by the absence of fear, the ability to love unconditionally, and holding a sense of purpose, gratitude for the richness and meaningfulness of life, no matter what the experience brings. Creation of a sacred space on a regular basis through prayer, meditation, contemplation, walking in nature, observing a Sabbath day, that's real big in Utah, or other rituals. And then finally, taking care of yourself intellectually, means that having a strong curiosity and desire to learn. So all these things, I mean, imagine if you have a patient who reads through this several times, once a month, have them read through this. It's huge. So essentially, that's kind of the mindset where we get them into. And then we congratulate them, and then we start with the program outline. And Cade, do you mind taking everyone through kind of this overall wellness program outline and just give everyone a sense of all the things that we're doing, and then show them how to qualify for their $250?
Absolutely. Let me see. I just need to be able to scroll on this, but I'll run through it. Yeah. So you saw at the heading the East West Health University, and Reagan mentioned that we have the Kajabi account set up for our patients as well. And any of our clients, if you want access from a patient's point of view, just reach out to me at info@GoWellness, and I can create an account for you, so you can at least see what info we're giving them. And we don't even mind if you use that to give to your patients as well. And thank you, Armin. We just got a comment saying you're teaching some of the most important aspects of life to each individual, so we appreciate that, Armin. So the East West University. So we'll put together the outline, and the program is really we start off with the research and lab review and the patient consultations. So the big thing that we like to do is, as Reagan's talked about, is prepare the patient as much as possible for what they're going to be going through, and then actually deliver on what we say we're going to deliver on, because that's the most important thing. So we tell them what we're going to do, and then we do what we say. So we explain to them kind of each of the process, what to expect in your evaluations. One thing that we've started doing is for every single lab review that we actually have a video that we send to each patient before their lab review, so they can watch that video. They can be a little more prepared, so that way when they come in to review their stool test, they know what questions they want to ask. They already have a general sense of what the purpose of the visit is, and it just helps it run a lot more smooth than if they come in not knowing what lab they're discussing or what the topic is. So we've found that to be really effective. We'll talk about the different services, the different labs, and then in orientation, we've actually started doing a lot more one-on-one orientation. I know in Salt Lake, Sally's done that as well, it sounds like. on Reagan's team, but down here and in Salt Lake, we'll actually, each new member that signs up, our health coach will meet with them one-on-one, go through how to work through Kajabi and go through all that. We will do, we'll have them go through that, understand how to get into the system. We introduce them to this wellness binder because this it's amazing content, but it's a ton of information and it's all digital. We prefer not to print it out just because it does, you know, we're taking down a whole tree with this this binder of almost 200 pages. So we try to avoid that. And so, you know, when you look at all those aspects, also just helping prepare them in that orientation class where, you know, you're explaining, okay, this is what you can expect. Be watching your emails every week before your appointment, because they'll typically have a video attached to it where it's going to be explaining what to expect in your appointment. And so we've found that orientation process is really critical to help people understand. And also, when you look at this binder, hopefully you see from more from a business perspective, you're educating people on all the different services you have. So they may have maybe they did, we'll even give this to our stem cell patients, and, you know, all they did was a stem cell procedure, but then they see, oh my goodness, like I've been working with these guys for 4 weeks with acupuncture, and they give me a little bit of nutritional guidance, but I want more. And then it really opens up a bigger conversation to get them into, you know, one of our long-term wellness programs. And it's amazing to see that transformation, because, you know, typically when someone comes in for a joint pain, that's what they're focused on, is I got knee pain, I want my knee pain fixed. We address the knee pain, and then it's like, well, actually I got thyroid issues, I got all these gut issues, can you help me with that? And when they go through these this wellness binder and this information, it's amazing to see how much, you know, more willing someone is to invest in, you know, more of their health. So that's been a really cool experience as well. Scrolling down, let's see. So those are kind of the key things. So if you guys have, you know, we're trying to give you some really good ideas and content on how to build your curriculum for your patients so you can have an educational process. But then on the other hand, when you start implementing that, I think the first step is, you know, once someone signs up for a program like this, you also want to get them involved in an orientation. So in the past, we've done group orientations, which work really well. What we have found is after that initial ROF and someone signs up for a program, it's a little overwhelming. They don't know exactly what they get. So doing the one-on-one orientations has been really great for us. So you can do one-on-one orientations, make sure they have the class schedule. They know everything that's included in their plan and what to expect. And then you can also schedule out all their visits. Have them come in, bring their calendar, bring everything, and then you just schedule every one of their visits for the future. And they're set to go. Print out their schedule. They know exactly what that is. They know exactly when the classes are. They know exactly what's going to be expected of them. And that can be a very beneficial piece, because it also sets up a good relationship with the coach. So the coach can, you know, easily, once, you know, the patient's gone through some of their initial functional medicine visits and gone through their labs, then they can get they route back in with a coach, and it just makes for a very clean process there. Have you gone through, Reagan, have you gone through all the herbs and everything?
No, should I show them the herbs?
I think that's really cool. I didn't touch on, I forgot to tell you guys about how people can earn a 250 credit at
Oh,
the end of the
yes.
program. Is so these are the 8 steps to get their black belt certificate. So we'll actually print out a certificate when someone finishes their plan. But then you have to attend at least 5 classes, bring a friend or family member to at least one of the classes. There's a back-end portal where we can have proof that they were logged into Kajabi and used it. They need to utilize one-on-one coaching and mentoring, and that's got to be signed off by the provider. They need to have completed a physical challenge. So, if someone says, I want to run a 5K, they got to run that 5K. Show proof that they started a gratitude journal. They understand mindset morning, and they have a meditation practice, and they have a long-term personal wellness plan that either we've come up with alongside them or they've come up with themselves. But those are the ways that they can actually achieve. We give them a $250 credit towards a renewal plan or whatever plan that would be.
Yeah, it's fun to have those things because patients get pretty excited about it. Um, so you can see, I know our time's getting limited, but we have the 5 pillars of health, the detoxification program, um, with a cranberry drink. We have acupuncture explanation, what is functional medicine, trigger points. We explain trigger points, everything you need to know about labs. So then we talk about the adrenal and cortisol stress profile, blood sugar testing, bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, hormone testing, thyroid assessment. I mean, we try and go through a bunch of the tests. We don't cover everything, but intestinal permeability, MTHFR and genetics, stool panels, food allergies and sensitivities, neurotransmitters. Um, so then we list out what the neurotransmitters are. It's very interesting. We talk about SpectraCell, testing their micronutrients, and then here's what Kate was referring to as our glossary of herbs. So essentially they can come in here and they can just look up any of the herbs. So if we put them on Jade Screen, no one on their right mind is going to know what Jade Screen's for, and it's for frequent colds, flus, chronic bronchitis, low immunity, common infections. Maybe we'll get them on like some lactans. Those are digestive enzymes. Probiotics support GI flora, immune response. Mutzi Ren, constipation with dry and difficult stools, frequent urination. So you can kind of see there's, we've given them this great resource where they can look up any of the formulas that we've given them. Tumera, Ultraflora, Vital Essence. And this is not complete, but we did our very best. Here's our vitamin IV therapy, so patients can learn about that. So essentially, they're getting this nice, well-rounded perspective on what the clinic does. Here's the online wellness dojo and Kajabi. Restricting fructose consumption, we limit it to 25 grams a day. And then they have their notes section for all the classes. And usually we'll print these notes out and give them the notes so that when they're going through their classes, they can have them for balancing hormones naturally, or the mindful eating class, or pushing your comfort zone, or grocery shopping made easy. So lots of cool resources. Here's their 7-day meal template, the 8 most common food sensitivities, mindful eating basics, which are really cool. Breathe, appreciation, the senses, investigate, compassion, savor, mindful eating exercises, super slow workouts. So, like I said, and here's the 5 elements of emotional healing. You guys ought to take this test too. But GI tract function. But really, you can see the whole premise behind this is how can we educate our patients and give them the best tools? Because what's going to happen if they jump online and start Googling like GI health, they're going to get a slew of things. Or if they do a Google search on hormonal balance, so many different things are going to come up. So we have these tests in there for them. We have ways of them getting engaged. They bring this test to the provider. We explain to them what adrenal health is. Here's the functional fat burning. We put that book in here. Gives them some good tips and clues and ideas. Here's a bulletproof diet roadmap, moxibustion, proper use of topical liniments. So a lot of people come to see us with pain. We want to make sure they get out of pain. Here's a shopping guide. And then here's the staff recipes. And Cade's got one in here too. But yeah, so essentially that's our binder. And we find that it's so helpful when patients have tools and when you can have them reference those tools. Then you get them to think on their own. So anyway, hope this has been super helpful. Anything you want to add to this, Cade, or any questions coming through right now?
Um, no, let's see. We did have one question come through from Armin. I'm confused at what you're asking, Armin. You said if I'm able to do this, I want to present the visual portions of today's presentation to our wellness group in Mesquite. So it sounds like he's got some folks in Mesquite. Do I need any kind of permission? Hey, I guess yeah, if you want to present some of this information and content to a group of folks, there's no problem there.
Yeah, Armin, you're in Mesquite. You're right by St. George, our St. George office. So you got to reach out to Cade. What's the best number for him to reach you at, Cade?
Yeah, and Armin, we've actually his wife's a patient of ours.
Oh, I see.
Um,
Oh, cool. Got it.
yeah, so yeah, Armin, if you look on Go Wellness webinars, if you go to gowellness.com and go to our webinar section, this recording will be uploaded within the next, I'd say 8 hours, so probably tomorrow. If I'm not able to email the link, if you go back to this link tomorrow, it should actually, and you re-register, it should actually pull up a recording of it as well. But yeah, it'll be posted on our site so you can just log into that. Just go to that page. I think it's if you go to gowellness.com/webinars, it'll be there.
Beautiful. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much, and we will see you on the next webinar, and that's going to be next week, same bat time, same bat station. Make sure you tell your friends about us. Yeah, let's get some massive growth going this quarter.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, everybody.